All right, go.
So did you make sure that Norm didn't do the scout because he would have told the players not to guard Justin?
That wasn't why Norm didn't do the scout, but Jaren's the scout. I don't think Norm wanted to touch this one. So I saw Pascal earlier. I said, Pass, it's just a game. Jeez, what are you so nervous about? So I do think that their family's probably going to be a little uptight tomorrow, wanting us to do well, but wanting their son to do great.
Yeah, what jersey's mom going to be wearing in the stands?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully a KU jersey, but if not, I mean, I can understand it being split. Where it's half KU, half Toledo, but I can't understand a Toledo jersey at all. So I don't know what they're going to do.
These last couple games, you really had to emphasize not coaching to the scoreboard and just 40-point outcomes, that kind of thing. Marcus said that the biggest thing that they've gained, or at least he's gained through that, is confidence. Is that what you hope to get out of a game that's as lopsided, or a stretch that's like that?
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good point. I do think confidence is obviously important, and I think Svi certainly has gotten his confidence through that, and Marcus probably has too a little bit. I think Udoka has as well. Maybe LeGerald also, but the bottom line is the teams that we played here of late are better than what the score indicated. I think we caught them on nights where they weren't very good, and then we probably played pretty well on those particular nights. So I think to your point, playing each possession as if it's game point, we're not close to being able to do that yet, but maybe we're gaining on it just a little bit. I've always had teams that struggled, that got off to great starts, maybe maintaining the same defensive intensity throughout the last 10 minutes of the game in certain situations, and I do think that's been the case, but I think sometimes it's hard to get guys not to look at the scoreboard.
When you're playing fewer players, does it allow the players to play well together sooner because they're playing the same guys all the time?
I don't know. I look around the country, and there's a lot of teams only playing 7 guys. It's just they got, 3 or 4 on the bench that they choose not to play. We're choosing to play everybody, so it's a little bit different. So. But I think there's something to it. You go back and look at some of Duke's teams that they've had over time. If you're going to play 6 or 7 guys the entire time, we've always been a team up until last year that actually played to our depth and our bench, and that hadn't been the case at all here the last 2 years. And so there may be something to that. One thing about it, like if you watch us play, when we play with 2 bigs, we don't play near as well as we do when we play with 4 guards. The ball doesn't move. Maybe defensively and rebounding we can be as good, but I do think that you get kind of used to playing a certain way and playing with the same guys, and you probably benefit from that every bit as much as it's a detriment, if things don't go well.
So you've been doing it wrong all these years, playing 2 more guys?
No, well, I don't think so. When in the Big Ten, I had a coach tell me one time. He said, "Hey," and it was by accident. He said, "Hey, you got to figure it out." And I said, "What do I have figured out?" He said, "Well, you tell your big guys to bully everybody and foul the crap out of everybody because you know that if they don't foul, there's no way you can keep them all happy." And so I think there's kind of lucked into that. But when you recruit highly recruited guys, they deserve to get out there. So, if we had our full complement of players counting our red shirts, trust me, there'd be 10 playing right now, trying to get our rotation down to 8 or 9 by conference play.
You've talked about the job that Coach Green did developing Marcus and getting him ready. Is Marcus one of the more fundamentally ready college freshmen you've had?
Defensively, for sure. Yeah, I don't know that I would say offensively, because I still think there's a lot of things he can do better. But most kids probably will struggle playing if they're a reserve because defensively they don't get it. He's one of the few that gets it defensively, which will give him a great chance to play a lot.
Do you think him being high school all 4 years helped him kind of focus fundamentally and maybe just avoiding the AAU route?
Well, he played AAU ball. He just didn't play at a high level. He played for his uncle. AAU ball, but when you said being in high school 4 years, I didn't know there were that many kids leaving high school declaring and leaving early. But I think being in that program for 4 years definitely helped him. But I personally think AAU ball's done a lot to help a lot of kids. So I wouldn't say that's the reason why he's doing well is because he didn't play. Because I think there's a place for both.
When you have played, you mentioned the two bigs. When you have played, mentioned Udoka, maybe last game.
Not much. So.
Is it a depth thing when you do decide to do it, or is it just, hey, in case we need to have him out there down the road, we might as well get a look at it?
Well, it's probably more of the guards are tired or it's experimentation. Okay. But in the first half, I just don't see us doing it very much. Right. Just from a foul situation, I look at those two combined. There's 4 fouls that they can give us in the first half. As opposed to if they're playing together, we need to get 20 good minutes out of them in the first half, and then the second half we can kind of experiment a little bit.
How many times, Bill, have one of the guys maybe signaled over that they need to come out and you've just completely ignored them?
Yeah, probably a little bit more, but not much. The one thing that is a little different is pressure. Let's pressure and contest every bounce, every pass, all that stuff. That sounds good in theory, but it's not realistic. When you're playing guys that many minutes, and so I probably had to adjust a little bit. So there's going to be certain stretches of the game where we just need to be sound as opposed to being athletic and aggressive, because it takes a lot of energy to play, with that all-out personality if you can't sell.
Speaking of bigs, coach, is there any update on Billy Preston?
No update. No, I haven't talked to one administrator today. But I'm sure if I had talked to them and there was an update that they would let me know. So there has not been anything new transpiring on that, to my knowledge.
When can Sam play in a game? What game?
Nebraska. Is it Nebraska? I think it's. But for that to happen, I think all his grades have to be turned in. He's got to complete his finals and grades be turned in and everything to make sure that he's eligible for second semester. So. But Nebraska is the first game after our semester is over. So in years past, we've always been able to request that information and get it done. So I'll assume Nebraska unless something goes haywire.
Would it be the same for Sousa if he ends up coming here?
I believe so. We've talked about that, but his a little bit screwy in that his actual last final is after that game. So I don't know what it means, how soon they can turn the paperwork and everything. I believe that he could actually, if we think everything is good, I believe that he can actually come here but not be certified yet, which means he couldn't play in a game, but he could come here. But we'll just have to wait and see. I could be off on this by a couple of days, but I'm confident that his last final is after the Nebraska game. So the only game he could technically play would be Stanford. But getting all that paperwork done before the Stanford, that's not going to happen. So the best case scenario, hopeful, is to have him for our conference play when we get back from Christmas. That's probably the best case scenario if everything goes perfect.
Obviously, it's pretty early in the season, but you guys are number 2 in both polls. Do you think you guys are playing at that level, or you should be right up there with?
I don't have any idea. You watch the games this past weekend, and those teams have had an opportunity to play comparable level teams, and we've only had that once. But you really look at it, there's only been, when you look at those teams that were ranked really high in the top 10, most of them have only had 2 games like that. We've had 1. So I mean, very few have had 3 or whatever yet. That doesn't mean they couldn't get there, but I think that based on who we played, I think we played pretty well considering who we played, and if it was somebody else and we won by 10 but we played well, I'd say the same thing. But the teams that we beat are better than what the score indicated. So I think we played pretty well, but do we deserve it? Probably not, but it's still too early. I don't know who exactly does deserve it just yet if you haven't had a chance to really play the quality of competition that you need to in order to be ranked that high.